Hey, what's going on, good people? Happy Monday. It is episode 2 of Keeping It Honest with AP, with yours truly, Al Punter. How's everybody doing today? I hope you had a great weekend. It was a Mother's Day weekend. I hope all of the mothers had a good Mother's Day. I hope you got treated well. I hope you were celebrated the way you wanted to be celebrated. It was a great weekend. My mom came down to Virginia for the weekend, surprised me. I was able to celebrate her, take her out. We hung out. So it was a good weekend. But now we are back on Monday, episode number 2. And what are we talking about tonight, y'all? So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about men and mental health. That's right. Men and mental health. Listen, there's a lot that can be said surrounding men when it comes to mental health. You know, why don't men go to mental health enough? There's plenty of reasons. And what are the remedies for that? There's plenty. But before we get into the why and the remedies, of course, because it's keeping it honest, I have to be honest about my journey when it comes to mental health. So, where do I begin? So the first time I actually started to deal with my mental health probably was around 2007-ish. I had just gotten divorced. I was going through a whole lot. And I knew I needed to speak to somebody. So, you know how, your job, all jobs have the, EAP, where you can call and, get counseling. You get like 4 free sessions, and anything beyond 4 you have to pay for. So I went to the therapist, that was available through the EAP, through my job that I was working for at the time. And I was talking about how I miss my daughter. I was embarrassed about the divorce. And I remember the therapist telling me that going through a divorce is like death, because it's grief. So, dealing with that. And I did my 4 sessions, and that was it. I would go to therapy sporadically throughout the years. So the next time after that, I was in therapy. I'm trying to think. I know there was it was like a long time. That was 2007. I don't think, if my memory serves me correct, I don't think I went to therapy again until maybe around 2014, 2015. I can't remember. I don't remember. Because I was married. I was in my second marriage at the time. I don't remember. But my next memory that I do truly remember was going to therapy in late 2016, a couple months after my dad passed. I was grieving. I didn't know how to channel all my emotions, so I knew I needed grief therapy. I had spoken to my pastor about it, and he actually gave me some direction on where to go. There was a church that was actually doing a grief therapy series, and I remember going, and it was liberating. But again, that was just something for the moment. It wasn't continuous. The thing about me in my past was I didn't go to therapy consistently. I went to therapy here and there, and there was some gaps in between when I went to therapy on one day and then before I would go to therapy again. So that was in 2016. The next time I went to therapy after that was sometime after I got divorced the second time. I think that had to be around 2018, 2019 again. I went for a little bit. What's going on, Miss Keisha? Thank you for joining me. I'm talking about men and mental health tonight. So I think of maybe 2018, 2019, if my memory serves me correctly. I believe. I don't remember, because I may have went again for another 1 or 2 sessions. Again, not going consistently. My therapy was sporadic. Then here we are during the pandemic. I think in the pandemic is when I really started, I'm gonna be honest with you, taking going to therapy a little bit more serious than I had in the past. Not saying I didn't take it serious. I did, but I was actually going to therapy and putting in the work. No, we don't talk about mental health enough. And right now, I'm just going through my mental health journey. And then I'm going to get into the whys as to why men really don't seek help when they need it. So, around 2020, during the pandemic, I remember myself doing individual therapy because I started feeling, down. I was, carrying a weight of, having 2 divorces, the weight of me and my daughter's relationship at the time not being, where it should be, my insecurities, my low confidence, all of that. So I was seeking therapy, and this was a Christian therapist, and he was able to help me. And again, it was through EAP, of course. So that helped a little bit. And then on top of that, I started going to family therapy with my daughter to help us repair our relationship. But that was more about her. I mean, I was able to get some things out, but that was really more about her and making sure she was straight and doing what I have to do as a father to make sure that she was fine, and just, revealing to her some things, that I've gone through, and some things as it relates to me and her mother being married, and some things that she was affected by. So that was really more about her, but it was about us. So it wasn't really solely about me, because I had my own individual therapist going on. So that was good. Then, again, stopped going to therapy. And then after that, I did not go to a therapist again for a little bit. It was a while before I saw therapy again. Again, it was sporadic. It wasn't consistent. So fast forward, 2024. Actually, it was around this time last year of 2024. I started feeling some things. I started feeling down. I started, feeling like life was not moving. I felt all types of things. So I found me a therapist, and I've actually been in therapy now for 1 year. For 1 year, same therapist. She's awesome. Whole Village Counseling in Portsmouth, Virginia. And I was going like every other week, but now because I've been going so long and I've been making my progress, now I see my therapist once a month. But guess what I discovered going to therapy over the last year that I did not discover before going to therapy? My therapist, and this was actually a couple of sessions in, I was still fairly new. My therapist asked me, has anybody ever told you that you have anxiety? And my response to her was no. And I've been to therapy before, but nobody has ever told me that I had anxiety. And maybe it was because, and it's possible, that maybe I really wasn't forthcoming about all my stuff like I should, which that's another thing I'm going to get into, how sometimes, men, we may go to therapy, but we may not reveal everything because we really don't want to because of whatever reason. I'm going to get into that. But I've never been told before that I had anxiety, because I don't think in my previous sessions with different therapists, I don't think I was that open as I should. I was open, but I really wasn't I didn't go full throttle open. I gave them a little bit and held back. But my current therapist, I've gone full throttle. From everything in my childhood, teenage years, college years, the marriages, relationship with my daughter, my dad dying, my grandfather dying, other relatives dying, relationships. I gave her everything. Everything. When I say everything, everything. And I've explained how sometimes it can get lonely. Sometimes I feel low. My mind's always racing. And she was like, dude, you got anxiety. Nobody never told me that before. So what if I was forthcoming previously? Maybe I would have been told years ago I had anxiety, which would explain a whole lot. Which would explain a lot in my life. But nevertheless, I'm glad that I now know, what I deal with, and now what I got to do to channel my energy and do different things so my mind won't be so anxious, where I won't have an anxiety flare up. Because I want to make sure I'm the best Al possible. And the only way I can be the best Al possible is, one, not only seeking therapy, but putting in the work. So, yes. So, I have anxiety. Did not know it. And how many other men are walking around with different things going on in here, but you're not going to get help for it? There are some whys as to why men don't go seek help. There are some whys as to why men don't want to get therapy. Now, I do have some statistics for you because I did a little bit of research. So back in 2023, 17% of American men receive counseling or therapy. Just 17%. Compared to women at 28.5%. So 28.5% of women sought counseling or therapy, only 17% of men. That is a gap. That is a problem. But it just goes to show that with women, when women have things going on, women are going to go get help immediately. They're going to have a girls' night. They're going to talk it out with their girlfriends. They're going to contact the pastor, the first lady. They're going to go get therapy. Men are reluctant. Only 17% of men. Here's another statistic that's crazy. Studies have found that, and this is by the National Institute of Mental Health, that over 6 million men are affected by depression in the U.S. each year. Over 6 million men. But guess what this research has shown? That the depression will go untreated, or it will get worse, because men are less likely to seek help for it. Men are going to just, hey, whatever. Yeah, I'm feeling down and low, but I ain't going to no therapist. I'm not going to talk to nobody. For what? I don't need it. I got this under control. Do you really? I really don't think you have it under control, brethren. Because some of us, I'm talking about men right now. I mean, and this is for everybody, but especially the men. A lot of us hold up our own healing because we won't do the work to go seek help. A lot of us do. We hold up our own healing. I just want to throw that nugget out there. But now, here's the why. Why don't men go seek help? Well, there's plenty of reasons. Number one, men don't want to be vulnerable. Because being vulnerable means looking weak. And in the history of society, men shouldn't be looking weak. Men ought to be strong. Men ought to be macho. As you know, one of my favorite wrestlers in the 90s growing up, Razor Ramon, would say, men should be oozing with machismo. My pastor preached a message yesterday talking about who told you had to be strong. That's the problem. Men, we were told by society that we have to be strong. We have to look strong. So because of it, we're not going to say anything about what we're going through because we don't want to look weak. We can't be vulnerable with it. That is a problem. That is a major issue. Brethren, I want to encourage you all to push past that nonsense and that foolishness. If you need help, go get it. Don't not get help because you think it's going to make you look weak. Because all that's going to do is make your situation going on up here worse. So men don't want to be vulnerable because that's going to make them look weak. There is a term that I discovered while researching this, and it's called stoicism. 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 And it means to endure pain or hardship without the display of feelings. Now, how many men, honestly, endure pain, endure the trauma, endure the hurt, endure the disappointments without displaying anything about it? You don't show no feeling, you don't show no emotion, you're just like hard. Because you don't want nobody to see what's under that hard shell. You don't want nobody to see the man inside that's crying every day. You don't want nobody to see the man that's hurting every day. The man that is dealing with trauma every day. Nah, that's not it. It's okay to be vulnerable, brethren. It's okay to display your feelings. And understand where that might have came from, where we don't. Y'all know this term. A lot of us heard it as young boys. Big boys don't cry. Listen, I don't think a lot of our parents realized at the time what they were doing when we were not, as little boys, allowed to fall, cry, be in pain freely. I don't think they realized what they were doing. Because this is what happened. A lot of the big boys don't cry grew up into men that don't know how to display their feelings when they're dealing with stuff. All because they were told big boys don't cry. That is a lie. It's okay to cry. Strong men cry. I'm going to say that to encourage strong men cry. It's okay to let the tears flow. It is okay. I said, I'm about to say okay like I'm buckwheat. I'm tired. I'm sorry. It is okay to cry. Because you got to let it out. You need an outlet. Holding it in is going to cause more damage than good. So don't be walking in stoicism. Display your feelings, my brothers. It is okay. You won't look weak. Another reason why men don't want to seek therapy, they don't want to be judged or criticized for it. Again, who is in your circle? Who are you around that's going to criticize you or judge you for seeking help? Unless you got people around you that feel like you need to be strong all the time, you can't show no vulnerability. And if you do, you need to cut them off. Because that's not healthy. Not healthy at all. What I suggest, brethren, is that you not worry about if somebody's going to say something. If you're going to get criticized or judged or ridiculed or whatever the case may be. You can't worry about that. Because your healing depends on you getting help, the help that you need. Your life depends on it. What is another reason why men don't go seek therapy? Trust issues. Men don't trust others with being vulnerable. A man really has to trust somebody and really has a good rapport with somebody to trust them. Because they won't. A lot of men don't trust other men. A lot of men don't trust other women. A lot of men just don't trust people in general. So they won't say anything. Because they feel like, maybe if they be open and vulnerable, that the individuals may run with whatever they are told. And a lot of men don't want the whole world to know that they are vulnerable. So they can't put that information out there to just anybody. They have to build a rapport with people before they'll even start revealing secrets. I'm just keeping it honest about why men don't go to therapy. And I know, especially black men, because, we already know the stigma in the black community for years when it came to therapy. We just didn't do it. It wasn't talked about at the dinner table. It wasn't talked about in school. It wasn't talked about in church. Therapy was taboo. Because the moment you bring up therapy, or somebody said they was going to therapy, the thing was, that person must be crazy. So, to be a black man, it has been hard. Only because of this stigma, in the black community surrounding therapy. Now, it's more embraced. And more people are open to therapy. But that's not the way it's always been. Because, again, I don't know if you all heard it. I know in my family, mental health therapy, that stuff was never brought up. You will always hear like, cousin so-and-so is crazy as a bed bug or something like that, or something might be wrong with that one or whatever. But nobody never said they need to go get help. They would just say something was wrong. That was it. They left it at that. But, again, we don't have to fall into the trap of, previous stigmas. We can just push past that and go get the help that we need. Another why. Lack of awareness. Believe it or not, there are a lot of men who are unaware they can go get help. They are unaware of the mental health resources that they have at their fingertips. They are unaware of it. Why are they unaware in 2025? Maybe because they're not interested. Maybe because their mind has been so closed-minded to it that they won't allow their minds to be open. That's why there's a lack of awareness. I don't know. But it's out there. If you want help, it's out there, but you have to seek it. It is crazy to me when I see other men, and this is, like I said, this could be for everybody, but especially my brethren. When I see a lot of men, you know they need help, but instead of getting help, what they do is they indulge in unhealthy behaviors. I'm talking about like turning to drugs, turning to alcohol. Let's be real. Going around and sleeping with everybody in the community. Cause that's a band-aid. Instead of dealing with the real issue, they find unhealthy band-aids. I'm being honest. Anger. Always mad, always angry, always ready to pop off. A lot of that is because they need help from disappointments, past traumas, whatever they experience. And they won't go get the help for it. I really want to see my brothers just get the help that they need. Because a lot of us, again, like I said a little while ago, a lot of us are delaying our own healing because we won't seek help. We won't seek it. And this is the thing about it, brothers. If you're going through something, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. Because I'm sure your boys are going through either similar stuff or something completely different, but nevertheless, they're going through something. But what's happening is everybody's hanging out amongst one another, and nobody is talking about what's really going on. Because guess what? When men get together in the room, there's two things that are guaranteed to be talked about. Sports and women. You're not going to get men normally in a setting talking about what they're going through. But you're not going to have them talking about their traumas, their disappointments, their hurts, their feelings. You're not going to get that in a lot of settings when you got men just hanging out together. They're not going to do it. So we're going to talk about everything else, but not deal with our issues. Which is the opposite of women. When women get together, it could be at somebody's house, it could be at a restaurant, it could be just a women's session at church or whatever. When they get together, guess what they're going to talk about? The stuff that they're dealing with. They have no problem being vulnerable in front of each other. Because guess what? By the time it's all over, it's going to turn into a whole crying session, praying session, and everybody going to feel better afterwards. Men, we get together, we're going to be the same way that we were before we got together and hooked up with our boys. Because nobody's going to talk about it. Nobody's going to talk about it. So, I give you my story, and I give you the whys. Let me encourage you. You don't have to be afraid to get the help that you need. You don't. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to ridicule you. Nobody's going to look at you sideways. Nobody's going to think that you're less of a man because you decide to go get therapy. Not one person. No, they won't. And if they do look at you sideways, they were never in your corner in the first place. They're not there to help you. They're there to just put you down. Because real friends, real people that want to see you get better is going to push you to get better. So I would say surround yourself with people that you can trust. That will push you to get your healing and go seek therapy when you need it. That's who you need to surround yourself with. Brethren, get around other brothers that's going to push you to get help. That's the way I want it. I surround myself with men, with brothers, that when they know I'm going through, they're going to push me to get help. Not only are they going to pray for me, they're going to say, yo, Al, I think you may need to go speak to your therapist. Get people in your circle that's going to say that. Get people in your corner that's going to pray for you. Get people in your corner that you can trust. I'm telling you, it's going to go a long way. And let me just say this to all my brethren, especially my Christian brothers. A lot of what we're going through is in the Bible. Elijah dealt with depression. Jesus, our Lord and Savior, if you read the Gospels, in the Garden of Gethsemane, before he was about to be portrayed and arrested, he went through anxiety. It's in the Bible. He was anxious because of what was about to happen. So what we're dealing with, a lot of men dealt with in the Bible. You're not alone. So that's all I got. That's really all I got this evening. Don't be afraid to seek help. If you need therapy, go get it. You deserve to be the best version of you. Don't procrastinate with it. Don't let it linger. Don't let it get worse. Catch it before it gets worse and go get your help. That's my encouragement to you all. Because I'm telling you, for me, and can I only speak for Al, therapy is a wonderful thing if you go and do all the work that comes with it. Do the work, and you can be a better version of you. You can be healed. You can overcome a lot of this stuff, but you just have to do the work. And the work starts when you start going to therapy. That's when it starts. Well, that's all I got this evening. I want to thank you all for watching this live. You know, the replay will be up on YouTube. You know, Keeping It Honest with AP YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I'm going to upload it to my Instagram page. It's going to be on Facebook also. Please watch this. Please share it. Because I think it's important that men know that it's okay to go seek therapy. And it doesn't make them look any weak at all. They're not less of a man because they go win and got therapy. They are still the man that they are. Period. So that's it. Thank you again. This was episode 2 of Keeping It Honest with AP, with yours truly. We'll be back next Monday for episode 3. Stay tuned during the week, and I'll let you know what the topic is going to be. I hope you all have a blessed rest of your week. And brothers, go get your therapy. And y'all, please pray for me tonight, because I need my Knicks. They up 2-1 to go 3-1 on the Boston Celtics. Boston, them C's. I need them to be out. It's New York. New York is on a come up. We're back. Go New York. Go New York. Go. Period. All right. Y'all have a good one. See you next week.